On this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast, we sit down with Dr. Dorina to talk about multilingual learners and how every educator has a responsibility for their roster. Come on, let's learn together. Hey educators, welcome to the Innovative Schools podcast. Jordan and Liz with you.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Liz, it's been a minute.
I honestly have missed you guys so much. Like, I haven't been here in a while.
Who have you missed the most? Which viewer or listener have you missed the most?
Okay, so my friend from Colorado Springs, Colorado is the one I've been missing most.
Did you just make that up?
I did.
Okay, cool.
No.
Well, if you're listening, Colorado Springs, Colorado, you know you're missed by Liz.
Hey, I'm happy to be back.
Okay, I want to remind everybody, some people may not know that we have a video version of this podcast and an audio version.
True.
The video version is on YouTube. You can just search up Innovative Schools Podcast. You can also look at the video version on the AccuEd.com platform if you want to. That's another great place to look at. And then the audio version is everywhere podcasts are available. There's way too many to talk about. But just wanted to remind everybody that we have multiple versions, multiple ways to view this. Yeah. We try our best to honor both the video and the audio. Sometimes we do something in the video and we forget to describe it in the audio, so I apologize for that. But
I'm always guilty of that.
Just wanted to take a minute to point that out.
Yeah.
But now that we have all that out of the way, Liz, got a question for you.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Did you have to learn a language in school at any one point?
I did. I don't know how well I learned it, but starting around 7th or 8th grade, we had to start taking a language.
Oh, as early as 7th or 8th grade?
Yes.
I didn't have to do it until high school where I was, but...
Yikes.
What language did you choose?
I started with Spanish, actually, and I can't tell you how much I really held on to it, but
all you have is Donde está el baño?
Yeah, I need to know where the bathroom is.
That's it.
I'm always needing to know something about, what's that thing? Yeah, I can't really give you a lot of what I learned, but then I switched to French.
Okay.
And I had that up into college, and that was really fun. I can't really remember a ton of, because I don't use it. I don't use it, but it was really fun.
Okay.
Does that mean like a little?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I got nothing. Our guest, who we can't talk about yet and shouldn't say anything, is freaking out right now because she probably knows, but we're going to get to her in just a second.
Yes, we will.
I took sign language.
Stop! Are you for real?
Yeah, my high school offered sign language, which I really enjoyed.
Can you say something in American Sign Language?
So I really simply, I can be like, hi, this is where the video version makes so much more sense. Yeah. But hi, my name.
Okay.
And I can do it, Jordan. I don't have a sign name. If anyone's wondering, in sign language, a hearing person cannot assign a sign name.
Wait, really?
Yes. So someone who is deaf or hard of hearing has to assign you one. And I just haven't had the privilege of meeting someone who has assigned a sign name. But that's beside the point.
That's really cool, though.
I asked that question just because of getting us in the mindset of learning a language that's not our native language and how that can be difficult and challenging. And some people may think sign language is like, like ASL, it's American Sign Language.
Sure.
But there's differences in the grammar and the way that words are said and different things that exist and don't exist.
Yeah.
And likewise, in other languages, French, Spanish, obviously, it's even more.
Yeah.
But today we're focusing on, we're talking to someone who's an expert in the English language learner. So going the other way. People students who may be in our school who don't know English as well or at all. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking a little bit without fully understanding the subject, but that's why we have Dr. Dorina Ebuwa. Did I get it?
Absolutely perfect. Thumbs up.
That's awesome.
We're going to stick with Dr. Dorina or Dr. Dorito.
Wait, that was so cool.
Thank you. Yes, she just did the sign for thank you. Yes. A lot of people do, I think, remember from like when they were kids because they teach kids sign language.
It's so true.
More please, thank you, and stuff like that. Anyway, we don't need to talk about my sign language. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk to you, Dr. Dorina. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. And just before we get anything else, one of the things that is an ELL strategy is also to activate your schemata and honor the prior knowledge that you have. So to let you know that un peu Un peu, U-N-P-E-U. Un peu is correct. That means a little. So c'est très bien
so
ça,
glad.
parce que je parle français. And then also with sign language, I learned sign language through Sesame Street a very long time ago with
Man.
Linda Bove. She used to have her book, and I learned it, and I knew that it was the night before Christmas, all in sign language that we would do.
She just signed all of that phrase, by the way, listeners.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so cool.
So hold on. So I was going to ask you if you learned a language in high school, but I think we've established before we started recording, she's done French, Portuguese, sign language. How many languages do you know?
Let's see, including Pig Latin, I would say 6. So igpe atenle, but I do speak 6 languages, but 1 + 1 is 11 to me. So we all have our, talents. But
sure. Would you consider yourself fluently in all of those, or just enough to be dangerous?
I am fluent in French, Spanish, English, and strongly working knowledge in Italian and Spanish. So I could easily survive wherever, but in order for me to teach it and to pass the tests, and which is important to mention because I can speak, which is great. I would get a level 5 on listening and speaking on WIDA or OPA or TELPAS or what all those testing scores are for academic language learners. But if you asked me to write something, I probably would not pass the exam. So I would maintain my status as a Spanish, as a second language, Italian as a second language. So that's a big thing, so that you can have that idea of what children go through. Whereas I can speak beautifully and survive no problem on the streets. I'm good to go. But if you ask me to actually go to college for it, you ask me to read an academic book,
it's different.
That's going to be hard for me. So that's a big difference. And we need to know that in education systems.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you have such an energy, and there's so many mysteries into like who you are and everything. So we've had you at a couple of the Innovative Schools Summits. That's how we kind of got to know you, which has been great. But for our listeners that may have not been to a summit or anything like that, I guess it seems like you definitely have a passion for language, maybe. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but if you know that many languages, I would imagine that's kind of a thing. And your kind of platform is like English language learners and things like that. But, okay. So there's 2 things I want to get to quickly is a little bit about you, why you have this kind of passion, and then we'll get into, if I even said that correctly, of English language learners. So let's tackle the first one of what's your passion when it comes to this whole subject of these students who don't have English as their first language. I don't know if I said that correctly. Okay.
You do.
Please help me.
The one thing I will tell you is the academic term that I tell everybody when you sometimes are innocently ignorant to something but want to learn. The academic term is, forgive my innocence of ignorance, however. And then you say that, which is perfect because then you're saying to someone, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. And so that's why. So you would say, forgive my innocence of ignorance, but is it ELL, ENL, 501, 403C, 501K? What is it, right? What's the acronym for English learners? And it does differ, but we'll go back to the first one, which is the passion. So I guess the passion really started when I was in 3rd grade. And as you can see, I sound like Joey Bag of Donuts because I am from Long Island. So you're going to have subtitles for the actual podcast because, it's like, what's up? But you're going to hear it. And it's kind of funny, actually, because when I teach my students from Bangladesh, they're very proud to learn English from England quite often. I had a parent conference with my 2 students' parents. And they said, we really don't understand, but she keeps on saying chocolate and coffee. Yeah, that's kind of what happens when you get passionate about teaching English. But it actually happened when I was in 3rd grade. I was in 3rd grade in Mrs. Smith's class in Circle Hill on Long Island in 1970. And what happened basically is we had after the fall of the Shah, we had a lot of Iranian kids. And then we also had a lot of Korean kids after the Korean War. Yes, I am strange because I'm only 29. How would I know all that? But I digress. Point is, during my time in 3rd grade, my teacher made me the ambassador for all the new students who came in, and I was obsessed. I absolutely loved just seeing people who were different and the kindness and empathy of being a highly sensitive person, I just gravitated to them and wanted them to feel safe and comfortable and welcome. But I took to language easy anyway. My grandmother was speaking Sicilian at home and I was fascinated, but she didn't want to. She said, no, you have to speak in English because we really at this time, it was something that was frowned upon. Now we embrace it. But prior to that, Nona was like, nah, we're not going to speak it. So it was hard for me, but when I would hear her on the phone talking to all my aunties in Brooklyn, I was like, whoa, I want to know what that is. Fast forward to doing really well in 7th and 8th grade, like you, in the French language, and then doing it again in high school, and then traveling abroad and just realizing this huge world out there through language. So to answer this for you, it's not necessarily about linguistic passion as much as it is about connectivity, cultural passion, and understanding everybody through language. And I believe to get to the heart of the person, you get to language. And I create that space of joy in my classrooms and everywhere. And when you become that person who just is so open to so many other cultures, language comes easier because it's an act of love for other people.
Sure. So you went from you had this in grade school, and then what's kind of been your education trajectory? Were you an educator for a time? Did you, what levels, and kind of a little bit of what you do now?
It's a great question. I went for French and international economics. I was going to marry my high school sweetheart, and I was just going to be at home and be a trad wife, right? That's what I was going to do. And I was loving life. And my parents were like, I paid for this education. But when I studied abroad and I traveled the world, I went, that's it. And what happened to me is that I wound up, at the age of 16, I started working at Victoria's Secret. And I absolutely loved working retail.
I didn't know we needed to put a parent warning on this episode.
Prior to what Victoria's Secret is now, it was extremely elegant. It actually kind of had a look like this. Everything was like Bridgerton.
She held up a coffee mug. Everyone who's just listening, she held up a coffee mug with lovely. A flower on it. It was lovely.
Yes.
Just those just listening, I didn't want your brains to go crazy. We are going to have to edit this one down. Sorry, continue.
Sorry.
Okay. No, I love it. I love it.
I'm very visual. Sorry. But yes, it was Victoria's Secret was very, at the time prior, back to then in late 80s, early 90s, it was very elegant and it had a lot of flowers. It looked like English countryside, English garden. There was an elegance to it. And oh gosh, did I love it. And I loved selling the fragrances and I just loved it. And the silk was beautiful and it just felt so feminine and beautiful. But because Victoria's Secret was so popular, there were so many tourists. And so I wound up using what I learned even early on, living in New York and learning French, and then moving to Boston and doing the same thing in Boston, where I wound up being the international person that anytime a client came in, I would work with them because I spoke these languages. And it's just really weird. And when I saw that I was really good at it, it was just this strange feeling for me, like I need to be doing more than just going into retail. And so when I saw that the trajectory of my life wasn't going exactly how I wanted, my mother, a teacher in Amityville, Long Island, said, listen, you're great with languages. Do you know this thing called ESOL? Which a long time ago, it was called ESOL. A little bit sometimes still. But she said, why don't you give it a shot? Go get your master's and go. And she does talk like this, by the way. Go get your master's and go and figure it out. Go qualify for your master's program. Go do something in ESOL and become a teacher. Why not? So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. Before I knew it, I went to UMass Boston. And I did not get in automatically. I had to actually take a course and then prove to Dr. Donaldo Macedo, who is absolutely excellent in linguistics. He's a guru in linguistics. He didn't accept me. I had to have an interview with him, take a course. And why I'm saying that is that incremental is monumental. You take these little steps to get where you need to be, and you don't have to be perfect in something. You just have to have heart and work hard. Mm-hmm. And when it came to doing this program, very few people were accepted. And when I finally got accepted, I didn't realize that was such a big deal. Got my master's in applied linguistics at the UMass Boston and wound up teaching in Massachusetts for a while, a couple of schools and then a couple of districts. And I wound up teaching Brazilian Portuguese, which is so strange. But because I, in fact, had the linguistics and applied linguistics and dual language masters, they put me right into a program with Brazilian Portuguese kids and kids from Portugal. And I was thrown into it. And I was thrown into it because they didn't know what to do, because at the time it was still so new. And so I did it. And I just fell in love with teaching English to 3rd and 4th graders who spoke Portuguese. And that was the moment that I said, boom. So it wasn't this, I was called to be a teacher. It called me from inside. No, I was selling bras. And then all of a sudden I was like, this is growth. Right? And I said, this is amazing. I love doing this. The return on the honor, if you will, of teaching children is seeing, yes, the light bulbs, the whole 9 yards, but watching this pattern of recognition in their beautiful brains and learning language. And then you start learning about the brain, and then you see how linguistics is just so fascinating. And from that, I wound up just studying more languages so I can study the children of whom I serve. And that's kind of where it all just snowballed into something absolutely fabulous and passionate.
Wow.
That story went so many places I did not expect.
Honestly,
but
it was one of my favorites.
Wonderful. I mean, it's like just the building of your passion and how you've been able to use it at different places and different times because now, like we said, you've come to a couple of our summits and, you're teaching other people. You're expanding even beyond that. You said, I care about these students now. Maybe I'm putting words in your mouth. How can I help even more students? And that's kind of how we ended up here on this podcast. We said, hey, Dr. Dorina, you have such a passion for these students. We want more people to kind of hear that and hopefully catch some of that passion. So to kind of move us into that classroom, how we can kind of get into our listeners right now. Let's go back to my second question, which was, I don't remember exactly what you said. My innocent ignorance, or
yes,
is that what? Okay.
Yeah.
ELL, English language learners, English as a second language. Is that one that's thrown around too? Just what is the correct way to talk about? Help me understand.
Perfect.
These students, where they are, and let's just get all of us, me, Liz, and all of our listeners, let's just get on the same page on what exactly we're going to be talking about and who those students are.
Perfect. That's why I put my hair up. I got my messy bun, so let's have some fun.
He's ready
I got
to
my
go.
double chin. We're going to dive right into this, okay? So let's get going. And I sweat if I breathe the wrong way in my Gen X pause, so you'll have to bear with me. So those listening, you understand, but I digress. Let's get talking. So it is everywhere, right? There is ESL, right? It originally started with ESOL and ESL. English is a second language. English is a second or other language, right?
Okay.
TESOL, teachers of English speakers of other languages, changed, right? Not English as a second or other language. That constantly evolves along with the research and along with the actual, fabulousness of what ESOL really is. People still say the word ESOL. You can use ESL, ELL, English language learner, okay. ENL in New York represent English as a new language, right? Nice. EB in Texas, which is emergent bilingual, right? So you have all these different ones. EFL, English as a foreign language. And then you also have ML, which is a multilingual learner. They technically are interchangeable, but with the OELA, the Office of English Language Acquisition, not too sure if it's still there anymore, but that's another podcast for another time. But the federal government has the OELA, and interchangeably they use ML, ELL, writing, and speaking. So a lot of times when they make documents, it's ELL, but has since changed. So for the most part, I will say the best thing to say is multilingual learner at this point. And there's many others that people are creating. And the reason we say multilingual learner is because there are a lot of children who come to the United States learning a lot of languages before they learn English. They're a multilingual learner because they might know French and Creole. They might know Cape Verdean Creole and Portuguese. They might know Arabic, and then they might know French. There's other languages besides English, but also it's a multilingual learner. So now we're honoring their heritage language, their first one, and then they're learning English. So when we say multilingual, multicultural, because that's exactly what's happening, right? You come to the United States and you're like, oh, I'm now having this education. I'm going to a K through 12 education system. I'm so excited. I am someone who speaks, let's just say, Portuguese. And I'm so excited to learn English. I'm a multilingual learner. Doesn't that sound so much better than I speak Portuguese and now I'm learning English? I'm an English language learner. Right? You see the difference? And what it does is that it doesn't give English power, because language is power. But when you give English the power, the dominant hierarchy of English, you are actually saying your language is not as superior as English. What we want everyone to understand is your language should be honored. Your heritage language is a part of who you are. But also, if you learn English, imagine the beauty of being a multilingual, multicultural person. You're the global citizen we're looking for in the future. That's how we want everyone to understand that.
Wow.
Okay, so for this conversation, is that, I want to make sure, is that something that's kind of going through the education industry? Is that your words? I don't know. I don't know what I'm asking. I'm just.
I think I understand, because I speak your language, not just English. I think what you're trying to say is, what am I saying? Is that fact? Is that opinion? Is that something that's going through the education system? So is that being taught? Or is that just how you feel about something? And that's important for me to stress, is that we feel things, right? We do. We feel things about it, even about English learners, how you feel as an educator. How you feel about something and how it should be in your mind is your opinion. What is fact is different than feeling. And what we need to do is get this conversation out in the open and people listening on the podcast to say, okay, what do I feel about that? But not stay here. What are the facts about it? What is the research behind it? Let me reflect, not react. And then my lens of life will be able to help me teach English learners. That's what this is. So it is stuff that is fact and backed up research, but as well as we're constantly evolving in our industry. And with the new research, with the new ways of language acquisition, and with the understanding of all the different children that are coming in, we interrupted education, indigenous languages, languages that are forgotten that we didn't even realize existed. This is just brilliance. What do we say? How do we say it so that we're honoring child, culture, language, whilst educating them in English?
Wow.
Got it. Yep. Okay, cool. So for the sake of this podcast, for the rest of it, we're going to stick with the multilingual learners.
Love it.
Right?
Perfect.
Did I get it? Cool.
You did it.
Multilingual learners.
And you can say ML, by the way. ML.
Okay.
ML.
So maybe some of this might be obvious, but I'm curious on your kind of specific, since you're in it so deeply. When an ML student, I'm hoping, right? ML student, said that correctly? Cool, sweet. Comes into a school. There's obviously the challenge of maybe not knowing enough English to be able to comprehend everything, or I don't know if that's the right word. I feel like I'm fumbling over everything, but again, innocent ignorance is what I'm trying to portray here. But what are the challenges for that student, kind of beyond, I guess, the language barrier? Have you seen that you experience?
That's a great question. And please understand that I'm not trying to just kind of nitpick what you're saying, but after reflecting on what you said, when you said multilingual learner student, just so it's easier on everybody in the podcast and everyone listening, but also this perfect comparison. Do you know how some people say, I'd like some chai tea? Well, chai is actually tea. So you're saying TT, right? Or if you say, I'd like some naan bread, and that's naan is bread. So you're saying, I'd like some bread, please. Right? So what we're going to do for the rest of this podcast is just say ML, because you're saying multilingual learner student. So that learner and student, so multilingual learner, it's best to just say ML and we're good to go.
Cool. Thank you for helping me learn.
Thank you so much for letting me say all that, because that's what we're talking about. That if someone doesn't, and this is why I really appreciate this time, because the fumbling is learning. The fumbling is exactly what children should be doing when they're speaking a language, right? We shouldn't be intimidated. The actual true stuff happens when you feel embarrassed and you're like, oh my gosh, should I not? Or I'm fumbling because I'm not too sure what I'm supposed to say. That's beautiful. That means that your brain is like, oh my gosh, it's not about the perfection of a podcast. It's not about, you have an innocence of ignorance on this topic. You're willing to learn. You're not too sure. You have a lot of stuff going on and you know that you have an expert in front of you that okay, I need to learn from you, grasshopper. I need to learn from you. You know what I'm saying? So this is why it's great that you just modeled what we want in the classroom. We want fumbling. We want grammatical issues. We want kids to kind of think and say what I'm supposed to say. And so to help answer that question, as we're doing such great work here learning in this example, is it's not just linguistic. It's not just linguistic at all. And that's why it's so important what we recognize, that when children come from other countries to the United States, whether it is for natural disaster, whether it be for political asylum, whether it just be for whatever is left of the American dream, whatever is the opportunity, let's just say, okay? The opportunity. We know that we have children that probably didn't come here because they wanted to, but the mom and dad or their guardians knew exactly what was necessary for them to thrive and survive and live a beautiful life. And that is what we have to always remember. They are children coming to the United States. And some are even children who have come by themselves. And some are children that are not living lives as children back home. And then they got to go come into a school based on their age. They have to go into a classroom and people just go, here you go. Here are the standards. You need to finish this by the end of the year. You need to get to this point. And we're going to love you and make you feel good in this classroom as best as we can. But we got 42 other kids and this is not my job. That's what a lot of kids see. That's what a lot of kids go through. And that's why it is imperative that we don't discuss strategy of how to teach the English language first. We start from strategy from within. What do the teachers believe? What is their lens of life? How do they feel? Yes, but what do they believe about English learners before you can even scaffold a lesson or differentiate it to meet the needs of English learners? Because if you don't have that first, you got nothing. And it starts from the district down, but I'll take administration and teacher. And I said starts, so I'm getting really passionate. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just, really passionate.
So
but the start came out because if we start from the principles, not someone who's saying, I defer to the expertise of the ELL or the CRT people or the bilingual, the duolingual teachers or the EML or the ELL teachers, in this case, ML, we have to have the administration know how they feel about the MLs and what they're going to do to provide an equitable education for them, because by law, documented or not, Plyer versus Doe, which is under scrutiny right now, and Tennessee wants to just drop it completely. But I ask all those to educate themselves on Plyer versus Doe, which is they have a right, they meaning undocumented students and all students who come to the United States have a right to a K through 12 public education. I'm getting emotional about it. A K through 12 education. They have the right. So when Tommy McClanahan doesn't want to teach them in Mr. Collins in science class, doesn't want to teach them, and they put baby in a corner, they don't want to teach them, by law, you have to. But because there's shortage of teachers and there's a lot of things that are going on and teachers are going through so much, then everyone in the administration goes, I know, it's tough. Well, that's where the arrogance of ignorance comes in. And then the teachers become arrogantly ignorant. But if the administration says, hey, roster equals responsibility, that drop-down menu on your computer with the kid with the globe, you are responsible for that kid, which means I'm responsible as an administrator to give you the professional learning needed to, in fact, understand how to equitably teach that child. That's what we have to go through. But right now, all I'm looking for is for the Mr. Collins, Tommy McClanahans to turn around and go, ugh, I got a bunch of MLs in the class. Now I know it's called ML. They're stage 1. How do I feel about it? What is my lens? What do I believe? Once I do all of that and I kind of take my lens off, which I'll get to in a minute, then now I can do the strategies. Administrator, will you give me some professional learning on what to do for these English learners so I can meet their needs? That is a perfect world. A perfect world. And I'm sorry, I'm going to just ready and step off the soapbox, but I had to do it because Flyer versus Doe is right on the table right now that they might overturn it. So it's making me very passionate.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a lot. But like we said earlier, like we brought you on because of your passion for all of that. And you kind of blew through all of my questions for this first segment, but that's okay because I don't think I could have asked any of my questions or anything in a way that would have invoked that. Like your passion and everything is just so strong and contagious for us to, to honor that it's the right. We're educators. We educate these students, no matter where they come from. Everyone has the right to education and to learning. So after that little soapbox, which was great, I say that as a compliment, not as a criticism. What we're going to do is we're going to take everything you just said there, and we are going to start giving some things in our next segment here of we're going to explore how do we remove that lens? We've already kind of have that first step. You said it in your example there of ML. That's what we're looking at. So those first steps of kind of shifting our mindset as educators, and then share a couple maybe practical things to help our MLs to start to thrive and get that education that they all deserve. So that's a long way of me saying we're going to take a short break. And we'll be right back. So everyone hang out and we'll see you in a minute.
See y'all in a bit.
Hey, Innovative Schools podcast listeners, this is Jordan. I wanted to tell you guys about the Innovative Schools Summit. It's something we're very closely related to, as you can tell by the name. It's how we get access to all these experts to be able to record these podcasts and things. But what the summit is, it's about a week long where we get a whole bunch of experts in the field of education together in one place to teach you guys, to teach you all types of things, to teach you things like innovative teaching strategies or discipline, classroom management, and then even into things like how to handle bullying and things like that. It's just a wonderful time to come together with a couple thousand other educators and these experts and learn from them. There's all types of people that we have present at these, many of whom have been on this podcast. People like Michael Bonner, Steve Spangler, Gary Brooks. The list goes on. Pretty much everyone on the podcast has been at a summit at some point in time. So if you like this content that's on the podcast, you will love what happens at the summit, being able to learn directly from them. We have about 5 a year all over the country in 2026. We have New York, Orlando, Las Vegas, Nashville, and San Antonio. And it's sprinkled throughout the year, so hopefully there's one that has dates that fit with you. For details for that, check out the link in the show notes or the description, and we hope to see you there. If you are there, try and find us. We'd love to say hi and talk to you and get your ideas for the podcast. So hopefully, we'll see you there.
Learn from the best in education on Accurate.com. Accurate.com is our subscription-based service that we offer for educators just like you. We have over 40 masterclass-style courses that get you more than 80 hours of training. These courses cover a multitude of subjects like leadership in your school, to climate and culture, to even just classroom management, and so much more. And this training is from the real experts like Bruda Kefele, Michelle Borba, John Almarode, and even Michael Bonner. We release a new course every month, and you'll be able to start applying these strategies as soon as your next day in the classroom. Go to Accurate.com to get started. If you use promo code PODCAST at checkout, you get 10% off your first 6 months. Visit Accurate.com and start learning from the pros today.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Innovative Schools podcast. We've been sitting down with Dr. Dorina Ebuwa. Ebuwa. Okay.
Ebuwa.
See, I'm learning. And we've just been having a beautiful conversation about our ML kids. And I did it again.
Yeah,
Can I start
you're
it
right
over?
there. No.
Because it feels like...
No. I had to flub earlier. You have to flub now. We have to fumble through it. That's how we learn.
Okay, well,
Brilliant.
okay.
Brilliant.
Okay, fine.
Well, I was going to ask you anyway, kind of how you were sitting there kind of mostly in what I would describe as aghast through the entire first half.
It's hard not to be.
You're absolutely right. But, thoughts, feelings?
Honestly, it's so beautiful coming to this space where, as an educator, I would feel so much responsibility because I do kind of connect so deeply with Dr. Dorina's kind of passion and kind of drive to be making sure that all of these kids feel like they have a seat at the table, and they feel like, I mean, they're all coming with different, cultural things. I mean, even kids in America, you're coming with your culture with you, but also these kids who are coming from different countries for an array of reasons are coming with so much more to the table. And I just think that's so beautiful that we've been having the conversation where it's like, how can we actually not only love these kids well and support them well and make sure that their culture is honored and valued, but also that they're having that equitable, learning experience, that it's not just about, science standards or math standards. It's about you're a whole person and we're going to honor everything that you are, but also we're going to make sure that you're absolutely kicking butt at excelling, so high. Yeah. And it's like coming to them in that way is just so beautiful. So I'm like literally sitting here and I'm like, oh my gosh, how can I help? Not as an educator, because I'm not an educator, but I'm like, this is beautiful to talk about. So I'm just thankful to be a part of the conversation. TBH.
Yes.
There we go. But yeah, so I'm just sitting here in awe of Dr. Dorina and the passion that you're sharing with us. But also, I'm excited for these educators to walk away with really cool strategies and how they can do that. Because I'm like, this is beautiful. And I'm like, let's freaking go,
Liz, you get the apple. So
she's holding up a crystal apple right now.
What in the world is that? What is this?
Crystal apple right here, because as you can see, when you look through the crystal apple, you can see varying perspectives of the world. And that's what we want. You said TBD, which is to be determined, on top of it, to be honest. And the fact that, you also pronounced Ebuwa as Ebuwa like everybody does, but you, Jordan, then turned around and corrected, which is exactly what we want. We want people to not turn around and just mispronounce. Language and name is identity. And do you hear this podcast? The both of you are doing exactly what we want teachers to do. If you are not pronouncing children's names simply because it isn't something of your lens, you should turn around and just say, wait, no, it's pronounced this way, because that is honoring an a multilingual learner. And that is just so great that everything we just did right now is a strategy, just so beautifully. And just, oh my gosh, this is totally for you. And again, this is the crystal apple just for you. So there you go.
Thank you. That's honestly really beautiful.
That is great. So we kind of already did it a little bit, I guess, talking about strategies and things, but not really. Just one little thing you highlighted kind of what's happening here. And I do love that about what we try and do on the podcast is not just be like, okay, we have an expert, they're going to talk about things, but our tagline, you may not know this, Dr. Dorina, but we start every podcast, somewhere in it, we say, come on, let's learn together. And that's really what we try and do here. And I do feel like we're really accomplishing that here. So where we left off just a little bit was talking about shifting the teacher kind of, the way you said it was removing the lens, but so removing the lens, shifting the mindset a little bit. So just what are some ways, maybe we can put this in a hypothetical. We have some educators that they're having a hard time. They have some MLs in their class. They don't really know what to do. They know they need to do something. They're not really sure, but they need to start to shift their mind a little bit to help them connect and educate MLs better. What are some first steps, some things that educators, what are things people can do to help kind of remove that lens, to help them see like that apple you're holding up from all the various different perspectives?
Great question. I will say it's from the feedback from this ISS AccuTrain Summit in Vegas that I presented the lens of life. And when the feedback came from the educators, they said, I can't believe the difference when we discuss your linguistic lens and your own lens of life. So I'm going to go it on the basis of feedback from teachers. And what the teacher said, and it is very powerful, is your lens of life is how you see the world. So the activity that I encourage many people to do, either at home or in PLCs or in schools as part of professional learning for yourself, is you take a piece of paper, a stock card, okay, and you fold it in half and you create your own frame. And with that frame, you make a picture. Well, the frame, I guess you could say, a lens. You make a picture of a camera, a picture of a camera, old school camera, where there was a flash and everything, like total 1970s, 1980s camera. And in the center is you. There's that circle, which is that one lens of who you really are. But then around it, it's your pillars of how you see the world. Right? So we're going to try it right now. I see the world without doubt through a New York lens, right? Everything I do. I live now at the Florida-Georgia line, and I can't get New York out of me. Not accent, but things on time, things going quickly, not perpetuated stereotypes, but there is so much that I have to take my New York lens off and realize this is the way they do it in Madison County, Florida. And it's very different. So instead of me enforcing like, your pizza stinks, you need pizza from New York. No, then go to New York and get pizza, right? What am I complaining about? I need to take my lens off and I need to realize other things that they're going to be different. My lens isn't wrong, but it's just that my lens, in fact, is different from what I'm experiencing right now. Another could be being a teacher. Being a teacher in Florida, being someone who's married to a man of color. I do not see the world the same way at all. Being plus sized in a not so plus sized world. Some of those are very surface, not as deep. Having long COVID, being disabled. What about perhaps being a traveler, not having children, not being able to have children? So I might see a woman online at Target and there's a baby on a screen and she's online and I'm looking through my lens of no kids, my teacher lens, my New York lens, and I'm trying to rush and I look and I go, of course, put the kid on the screen, of course. You know, this is a teachable moment for this kid. Yeah, Dorina, take your lens off and see that woman just needs 2 minutes to herself. She's a mom. This kid's driving her up a freaking wall. Just 2 minutes. But I only wanted to see it my way. I need you to think of that example and put it into the classroom. How your lens of life, how you see the world, greatly impacts how you see children. So maybe you are a staunch Democrat, a staunch Republican. Maybe you are someone who is a military brat, a product of divorce. Maybe it is your sexual orientation that is a part of your culture, an LGBTQ plus IA community. Maybe it is not. That's something that's your identity. Maybe it is you are an unbelievable Christian. Maybe you're an atheist. Maybe you've been teaching for 25 years. Maybe you've been teaching for a year. There are so many lenses in which not how the world sees you, but how you see the world. And quite often, my lens to Liz is totally different. We might have some similarities. My lens to Jordan is totally different. There are some similarities, but when you have the ability to recognize how you see the world and your linguistic lens, where you come from in language, prior to starting the podcast, we had great discussions of Jordan learning sign language, Liz learning Spanish and then French. And then that's part of your lens, of your linguistic lens, but where did it go? Why did it drop off? Whereas other people have a different lens because they were born speaking another language or they love languages. Whichever it is, you've got to write them down around that actual camera with you in the middle and then hold it up to yourself. And then think about the children that are in your classroom. So Mr. Collins is teaching history and he's got a child named Miguel Cardoza. And Miguel Cardoza is actually from Guatemala. But quite often, Mr. Collins calls him the Guatemalan kid because he's so into history and knows what went on in Guatemala. His actual idea is the child is the country. So he qualifies the ML as the Guatemalan kid, not Miguel Cardoza. So what Mr. Collins has to do is take his lens off and go, that is an innocent child who has the opportunity to learn English and learn American history with me. Not the kid from Guatemala, not the Guatemalan kid, but Miguel. And it is my job, because roster equals responsibility, to teach him, regardless if this is how he feels about Guatemala, how he feels about immigrants, how he feels about this. No one is saying you are wrong. Not then. I could talk about that in happy hour. But right now, I'm not telling you. As long as you are not impacting people's human rights, your lens is fine. But then once you need to take your lens off to be a teacher, to see people that don't look like you, speak like you, and act like you. And once you have that capacity, and it's a very big reflection, once you take that moment to take your lens of life off to see others, you are already halfway there to teach multilingual learners.
Wow.
I'm going to bring something up that you said earlier, which was incremental is monumental. And just as a touch of encouragement, we can sit here really easily and talk about removing the whole lens, right? Just take everything and put it aside. But I know from my own experiences and thinking back through things that, the things that have gone on in my life, that can sometimes be really difficult to try and move that entire lens. And sometimes it finds its way back. Sometimes it goes away, and maybe it's different for different people or different situations. But I just want to call back to what you said. I forget the exact context that you said it on in this podcast, but you said incremental is monumental. And just as an encouragement to the educators is removing your lens may sound monumental, so take it incrementally if you have to. If you fall off the horse, if you move it away and it comes back, maybe you only move one piece of it. But I think the key to what you've been saying, Dr. Dorina, is the awareness of what is inside of you that's stopping you from, like you were saying, treating them as not the Guatemalan kid, but as an individual who needs to learn regardless of the history. So just as an encouragement to everybody of incremental is monumental. You may not get it in one day. You probably won't. I'm not trying to be mean. Just it can be tough. But I don't know.
Jordan,
I felt impelled.
Jordan, you said that so perfectly, because incremental is monumental in this. And what it is called reflequity. And you are reflecting on the equitable education of the children on your roster. So I call it reflequity. You're reflecting on your own practice and the equitable education of the children in your room. And that roster equals responsibility. It does not happen overnight. This entire process is 1 year of reflection for you to even grow. I usually say within the first 9 weeks, you should have some sort of true lens of life. Give yourself the first 9 weeks of school. If you work in 4 quarters of school, you think of this 4 seasons, right? It's your path on 4 seasons. The first 9 weeks, you're in autumn, right? You're there and you're thinking about it. What is my lens of life? Within that 9 weeks, you should come up with how you see the world. And within that, there should be one small change that you're making based on that one lens of life, based on that reflequity and understanding. And maybe it is the Epcot syndrome that we talk about. And what is Epcot syndrome? That's another strategy that I ask teachers to think about in the first 9 weeks. Do I perpetuate the stereotypes of the children, the MLs, in my classroom based on their culture and their the general culture and their language up here in the iceberg of culture? Or do I understand the individual deeper, right? So if I say the word Sicilian Italian, be honest, I'm Sicilian Italian. What is the first thing that comes out of your mind? Quick, first thing, go.
Honestly, pizza.
Pasta. Thank God you guys didn't say mafia, okay? Because that's the majority.
That was second. I'm not going to lie. That was second. But pizza was first. That was second.
So, what you
Truthfully, it's more of the accent that does it than Sicilian. It's the accent that gets me.
You guys are perfect for this because you thought pasta, pizza, you thought mafia. It was in your head. And these are the natural biases that society and a system has created. And I know bias makes people squint. It's an uncomfortable word, but we have these internal ones that we go, oh, why do we feel that way? That is natural. No one is punishing you for it. No one is telling you to jump on your soapbox and say, you shouldn't do that. It's, what is it? Oh my God, I just thought of pizza, pasta, and the mafia. But there is something deeper, but you don't know yet because you're unfamiliar with the culture. You're unfamiliar with the deeper aspect of it. So your lens goes to Epcot syndrome. If you've ever been to Epcot here in Florida, you go around and it is perpetuated happy stereotypes about France and about all the different countries. And actually, the people who work there, they're called cast members for a reason. They have to sign a contract saying that they're cast members and cannot deviate from joy. So when I wanted to ask someone from Marseille, France, who was working in the pâtisserie with his little perpetuated stereotypes, I asked him when there was a revolution, there was an issue in France. And I said, qu'est-ce que s'est passé in Marseille? What happened in Marseille? Because he happened to say he was from Marseille, France, the South. And I said, comment ça va, su famille? How is your family? You know, votre famille. And he's like, non, je peux parler au sujet de ça. No, I cannot speak about that. Je suis désolé, mais I'm very sorry, but I cannot speak about that. I signed a contract that said I can only speak on pleasantries here. That's what my job is. That's what teachers do. It's called Epcot syndrome, or at least that's what I call it. And when you stay in pizza, when you stay in tacos, when you stay in hijabs, when you stay in Ramadan, when you stay in immigrant, when you stay in refugee, you don't see deeper of the individual child, not the country, not just the culture. Because I know we all could be Americans here, but all our American cultures are quite different. And the same thing goes for each individual child. Am I saying you have to know each one? No, I'm not saying that right now, but I am saying when you put them as an individual, taking the lens off and seeing a child, not a culture, country, or just a language, you are already the first 9 weeks making a difference to create a safe environment for a student.
All right. You good over there, Liz?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Just every time she starts talking like Dr. Dorina, I want to run through a wall. Like, sorry, I'm here with you.
Why do you want to run through a wall?
Because I'm like so inspired. Because I'm like, what can we do? Like,
inspirational wall running. Inspirational. It makes me think of that scene in Ted Lasso when is it Keely says, "Let's invade France."
Yes.
Like she's so motivated that she just wants to invade.
Let's invade France. Like, oh my gosh.
Go watch Ted Lasso, one of my favorites. I'm not just. I have to get a Ted Lasso quote in somewhere in every episode. But anyway, believe you got it.
I love it. Oh my God.
You guys are so good.
Okay, so we've hit first 9 weeks. We talked about that incremental monumental. What I want to get it before we kind of close here soon because we're going a while, but that's okay. We always leave room for conversation here. Once we're kind of past or we've worked a good amount through the lens, what are things that your everyday teacher? That doesn't sound the way I want it to sound. Some schools may have teachers, I guess, that are specific for ML. But I'm Mr. Jordan. I'm teaching math. Math is what I'm supposed to be teaching. But I have a or multiple ML students. I did it again. MLs in my classroom. Yeah. What are things that I should be doing? What are not things? How can I help those students the most? What are things that I can be doing? Reach into your bag of tricks, Dr. Dorina, and teach me something that can help me teach algebra, or if I'm an English teacher or science or any of those different things to MLs.
Great question. First thing is, I already know roster equals responsibility. We got that. We also have to do, you're Mr. Jordan, you are a math teacher, mathematics teacher, and you have 5 MLs in your classroom, 5 different countries, 3 different languages. The first thing you're supposed to know is roster equals responsibility, and then TLC Squared, which stands for me, tender loving care, we all know, but tough love culture. So it's very important that we do not coddle. at all our children in mathematics. We do not coddle them in history. We do not coddle them in PE. We do not coddle MLs just because they're new. We give them a little bit of leeway, but we put norms and establish rules very early on. And it is our job to make sure we do that. Because as a math teacher, I will not give them no mercy for me. Okay. There's a no mercy policy for me when I know their mathematical story before I teach them. So if you're a math teacher, you should already know, does the child have interrupted education? In mathematics, focus on mathematics. Know what their scores are. If they've just come and they're newcomers, here's something you need to understand. Are they brand new to the country? Or have they been in the country for less than 3 years? Have they been in your district? Have they had interrupted education when coming to the United States? Are they 16 with a 4th grade reading and mathematics level? You need to assess that child to know where they are, and you need to teach them there. Well, I teach algebra. We understand that. When they know algebra, even if they're about 2 grades lower, you could still teach them that algebra, but you need to know where they are. Because your job, Mr. Jordan, is to make a child feel safe in a classroom where they are intrinsically motivated to learn, not extrinsically. Okay. So for those of you who are watching, Mr. Jordan, make a heart like this. Okay. And Miss Liz, make a heart.
Right in front of my chest, making a heart.
Right.
With the hands. Come
you're
on,
going to
Liz.
make, for those listening, you're making a heart right in front of your chest. And then you're going to go around and go intrinsic motivation and make a heart inside all the way above your head and all the way down. Go ahead, do it. And say intrinsic motivation.
To say it like that?
Okay.
Yep.
Intrinsic motivation. Like that?
Go. Yeah, but
Do
it
it
has
again?
to be with a little more passion.
Sorry.
Motivation.
Intrinsic motivation.
I was like, wait, do I need to say it like that? That was beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Because that is what we want to do. Now watch this. Make that heart in front of your chest again, everybody. And then make an X.
Come on, listeners, do it too. Okay, then make an X with your hands.
And then X out all the way across your face and go extrinsic motivation.
Okay. Extrinsic motivation. I'm sorry, I just hit the mic, listeners. Sorry.
Mike.
And that is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic. And when you have prior knowledge of your ML and know where they're at, you meet them where they are. And then through TLC, tender loving care and tough love culture, and knowing what their WIDA, their ELPAS, their TELPAS, whichever ELPA 21, whichever standards that you use to show what their scores are in their linguistic scores, as well as where they are in mathematics in any testing that you have. But then you should be assessing them the first 9 weeks. You should be assessing where they are. And I call this the Kumon effect. Have you ever seen Kumon in a strip mall? It's like a smiley face that's like halfway happy. You ever see that?
No.
I don't think so.
Kumon is an actual Japanese style in which you start easy and they're like, I know this, I know this, I know this. And it's a psychology where if you start easy, you then build to something harder. They don't even realize it's getting too hard for them. That Kumon effect helps English learners. Excuse me, MLs. See how we're making sure it's interchangeable, but doing it right on the podcast. So let me rephrase again, Mr. Jordan, mathematics teacher. I need to know where they are linguistically. I need to know if they have interrupted education. I need to assess them where they are before I can even teach them algebra. I need to give them TLC Squared, tender loving care and tough luck culture. That means no mercy in my classroom. I know you're a multilingual learner, but I want you to know math. And the majority of students without interrupted education in Central American countries have a higher mathematics than others. So do not let a language get in the way of mathematics. And we need to know where the student is from, the country, so that we also know if they didn't have interrupted education, because there is a standard of mathematics and a lot of children are excelling in science and math in specific countries where math and science is they just love it so much. And then they come here and they don't do it because they think, oh, I don't speak English yet. The power of yet. So as you, Mr. Jordan, you go up to the student, you let them know using either an interpreter or some sort of device for yourself. I usually encourage teachers to write letters to their students that say, Dear Miguel, my name is Mr. Jordan. I'm your algebra teacher. and I already am appreciative that you're in my classroom. I respect you so much, and I know that English is not your first language. Although Spanish is not my language, I will do my best to incorporate Spanish, but I really want you to learn English. Therefore, I understand that you need to do A, B, C, and D in my class. Here are my expectations. Please give this to your parents and explain this to your parents as well. We are going to learn together. You are in a safe space, and I will be your mathematics teacher. Maybe you can teach me a few things. These are the kind letters that you would write to your English learners, but you're letting them know, no mercy, because I do not like pobrecita syndrome. And that's what Pedro Noguera, a sociologist and educator, coined that phrase a long time ago. And a lot of people don't know where that came from, but we should always monitor where things come from so we give credit where credit is due. And Dr. Noguera actually said pobrecita syndrome, which is a bigotry of low expectation. And so we have a lot of teachers that come in and think, oh, I don't know what to do with them, but they're so sweet and they're so nice. I'll just socially promote them because I don't know what to do. I don't have any strategies. That creates long-term English learners, long-term MLs, which is a detriment. They might be able to, like I did, I could speak beautifully and that I could listen beautifully, but I don't know how to read or write. And with that, we are doing a disservice, and that is not equitable education. So we have to be careful of pobrecita syndrome. We have to use TLC Squared. We have to write that beautiful letter to let them know that they are safe. And then we have to know where they are in mathematics. And then from there, we take them where they are plus 1 or 2. And then we standards-based teach. And if that child is not at algebra yet, you can't do algebra if you don't know other things. You got to that is called differentiated instruction. Well, I have an EOC and I have a scope and sequence and I got to get it this way. You explain to the multilingual learner person in your school. You also explain to your principal, and you explain to the parents, you explain to the student or the guardians and the students. My job is to give you intrinsic motivation to want to do well and be at the level I want you to be in by the end of the year. But if you are just here, I'm going to build you to where you want to get there over the summer. Because my job is not to make you pass the EOC if you are that interrupted in education. If it's just English that's the barrier and you're really good in mathematics, look out, Miguel. There is TLC Squared, no pobrecita syndrome. But if you do have interrupted education, I'm going to give you a space where you can learn to get up to algebra. And I bet you're going to be a math professor if you feel like going back to Guatemala. And that is an important thing because you're welcome here to be a mathematician, to be the Nobel Peace Prize, wherever you live. You are safe in my classroom. And that is the biggest thing as well. It is our job not to save children in Mr. Jordan's math class. I need to take care of him. I want to make sure he feels safe. There are those teachers. There are the arrogantly ignorant that put them in the corner. And then there are Mr. Jordans who are compassionate and have a little bit of the coddling pobrecita syndrome. Well, you can't do it because the kids won't be ready for the world. That's like Remember the Titans in the movie when Denzel talks to the actual defensive coordinator. And he's like, the defensive coordinator says, you're being hard on them. And Denzel goes, you don't know what it's like to be a black man in the 1950s. Still now today. You don't know what it's like. You can't coddle these kids. They're not going to be ready for the world. That is what Mr. Jordan, the math teacher, has to say at some point with compassion. And when that is said, then that student goes, whoa, profe, okay, mister, okay. But if you just turn around and just go, I don't know what to do, that's pobrecita syndrome, and that's the bigotry of low expectation.
I don't know a better place to end this podcast. I mean, I've said it how many times? The passion from Dr. Dorina is just incredible and contagious. And like you, Liz, let's go run through a wall, I guess.
I got my running shoes on. I'm ready to go. But, I mean, it was such simple strategies. I mean, not always easy, but we don't have to overcomplicate it when it comes to, holding them to a high standard. Let's get them to where they need to be. But don't coddle them.
Don't do it.
Let's freaking go.
Let's go.
Let's just go. And that's what once you know, and this is the summary of all of this, once you know your lens of life You get away from Epcot syndrome. You know your TLC squared. You don't use pobrecita syndrome. Remember the Titans, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have roster equals responsibility. You understand that incremental is monumental. You know all of that. You understand, you know your why. We're the only profession that we have to go back to our why. We all know our why. We wouldn't be in the classroom. We'd go selling insurance. We'd be selling cars. But we know our why. But what we need to know for multilingual learners is the how. We have to reach out to the principals and ask how. That's where we reach out once we know roster equals responsibility. And that helps us so that we can actually believe. And believe stands for be the educators who lead to inspire and empower via empathy and English and excellence. So I just hope that everybody gets something out of this that they can just really believe.
Thank you, Dr. Dorina. This has been great. Liz, you want to give another stab at the last name? You got it?
Ebuwa? Ebuwa? Wait, did I actually get it right? I'm so proud. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I was like, please, Lord, let me get this.
Thank you. Two crystal apples right there. But
thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Dorina. Thank you, Liz, for being here. Thank you, all the listeners and viewers. I know, as always, there's something in this episode that struck you differently, that you either reminded about or something new that you learned. And I hope you can take that, harness it, analyze it, and take that into your classroom. If there's something in this episode that you thought was particularly important that more people should hear, please share this episode with your colleagues and your friends. We want to grow this podcast as much as we can, not to become super famous education podcasters. We want to help as many educators as possible. We can't do that without your help of sharing it. So like, subscribe, favorite, whatever it is on whatever platform you're on. Please do that, and please share this with some other people. We will be back, and we'll have another episode coming in a couple weeks. Thank you again, Dr. Dorina. Thanks, Liz, for joining.
Thank you.
We'll see everyone on the next one.
Bye, y'all.